Hello and welcome to how to create a cinematic intro. Alright, now let's get started. Now, the first thing you want to do when you're creating a cinematic shot is to obviously get the footage. But how do you go about doing that? Well, what I have done to get my shots over the years I've made videos is I follow two simple rules. One, does it introduce the setting of where the scene is? And two, does it look visually appealing? For instance, this one right here. It introduces the fact that it's in the woods, and it looks kind of nice. Even more so this one. Still, looks like on a dirt trail, in the forest. Use the little grass and twigs here as framing, and the water and the reflection looks very, very nice here. It's overall a very well taken shot, and this was all done on a tripod or either on the ground or something, so it's very steady, like I'll demonstrate to you here. Right here. So there's no shakiness to detract from the actual quality of the video, so that is what you want. And for this one, the entrance into the woods is shown. So every shot here is still on a tripod, no shaking, and visually appealing while letting the viewer know where exactly the shot is taking place. So the last clip would be, yes, this one. The last clip would be your subject, and I used my little sister for the subject. I told her to take a few steps, then look up. She's going to be my subject, and that she will be the last thing you see after these 3 shots are taken. Now, when you look at this shot, I mean, it may be shot well, but the colors are just... you could do you could improve the colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it in here, double click, and I'm using Corel Video Studios in case you were wondering, but this can be done with really any video software. You want to go to color correction, and right here there's going to be white balance. Click on that. Made the colors a little bit more natural. And right here is going to want to go to brightness. Now for this shot, I think I'm going to lower down the brightness about to -23. That already looks a lot better. Maybe a little tad bit more. Yeah, I think -23 will do fine. And then I'm going to higher the contrast to about give or take 18. Now, as you can see, the colors are more defined, and it looks a lot nicer. It gives a more higher quality effect, more cinematic effect, and well, at least in my opinion, this looks a lot better than what we had before. And this will be done with each one of your clips. Next one is going to be this one. So we're going to double click, and we're going to go color correction. Click on white balance. Lower the brightness to about -23, and then we're going to go to the contrast, and we're going to make it 18, and then we're going to add another clip, color correction, white balance, brightness -23, contrast 18. And lastly, the actual frame with the subject in it. Color correction, white balance, -23. You know the deal by now. Alright, so now you got some pretty decent looking shots in order in which you want to see them. However, they're kind of long, so we're going to want to trim them down a little bit. We don't want to bore the viewer. We just want the viewer to get a good idea about where the shot's being taken place. So we're going to watch this, probably going to want to cut this out. We're going to want to play it again. Now the viewer doesn't need to see much more than that. We can just cut the rest out and watch the clip one more time. That might actually even be a little bit too long, so we're going to edit it down a little bit more. Alright, now we're going to do the same for this one. We're probably going to want to cut right about here. And then we're going to want this to be for a little bit longer, probably about roughly the same as the one previous. We're going to want to cut this again, delete it, and as you can see, look, very, very, very nice with the color corrections. So we're going to put it a little bit ahead, cut right here, there we go, delete that. Play it again. Right about here is good. And there we go. Now lastly, the subject. We're probably going to get her right as she starts walking, so we're going to cut that. We're going to delete that. Right about there. That's probably what we need. We're going to want to go a little bit more. Okay. Now you have 4 very nicely colored clips that let the viewer know that this is happening indeed in a forest, and then finally letting your subject appear on the screen. However, there's a trick that I like to do. It's called panning. Now, panning is you're going to move the camera left or right. Try to create a nice little effect. It just looks very, very visually appealing. It usually looks better than just keeping the camera still when you have a little bit of swang to the right. For example, like, this is a nice shot, but there could be something, you know, added to it, a little bit of movement. Now, when you're using a tripod and using the camera, this can be kind of difficult to get a perfect panning motion. I mean, your hands shake, maybe you go too fast or too slow during one part, and I've wanted to bang my head against the wall repeatedly while trying to do it by hand. So what I've done is just stopped trying to do that in the process of filming it and actually doing the editing. So for me, I want to go to Effects, and we're going to want to go to this effect called Video Panning and Zoom. Video Pan and Zoom, scratch that. We're going to want to drag this onto our clip. Now if we watch it again, now there's this zooming thing on it. Well, that looks terrible, so we don't want that. But, so we're going to want to go to Attributes, Video Pan and Zoom is now a filter on our clip, and we're going to want to click Customize Filter, and this is where your starting point is. Now, we're probably going to want to make it so it's a little bit smaller. So we're going to probably crop the video a little bit. We're going to probably mess around with it, probably keep it right about here. Yeah. Alright. And then we're going to move this, where is the video that's going to end. I'm going to put it just in a nice straight line. Now, they're not zoomed in correctly. This is about at 119%, and this is about 146. So we're just going to change the 146 to 119%. So now the product that we are left with is a nice panning, and I will demonstrate as follows. We're going to put this all the way back. You have a nice little panning effect. Now, you're going to do that with each of your clips, with these two. I'm going to speed this up real quick. I'm not going to bore you. And I'll be back once this is done panning. Alright, I'm back. And I have added a nice little panning effect to each of these clips. Now, for the last one, we're going to pan a little bit different. We're going to put the panning effect on, customize the filter, but instead of this one, this is a little trick I've learned as well. When introducing your subject, introduce him or her slowly. Do not like show the entire subject immediately. I will show you what I am talking about. So I am going to zoom in quite a lot, a considerable amount, and I'm going to put this right, I'm probably even going to zoom in a little bit more, okay. So I'm going to put the cursor right about here. That's about 171%. We're going to want that, our end product, to be at 171% as well. So, 1. I accidentally clicked enter. Alright. And now, we're going to want to move this in such a way that the camera starts at her feet and then goes up, and then you can eventually see her face. So this is pretty good. We're probably going to want to move this a little bit more. Probably right about there, and then we're going to want to move this so it's a straight line. Alright. Let me move it a little bit up more. Alright, there we go. Now, the final product that we get is an effect that looks something like this. Not bad. Now, this is a very basic intro with, not the greatest actor of all time, but this is generally how you create a cinematic intro to whatever shot that you're doing. I will now show you the final product. It's in its entirety, and I hope you learned a little bit of something. Hopefully. I'll see you later.